Hello, YouTube. We are Veteran Couple. As you can tell, that means we're both veterans, as you can kind of see in the background. We are working off of my cell phone and screen record, but we tried to use a webcam, and the product that we had was not working good, and we botched up the last video that we reacted to, which was NF weight. And so unfortunately we are not going to redo that, because that kind of defeats the purpose of a reaction video, is the initial reaction.
But I did like it. I will say I did like it.
And so if you haven't been keeping up with our journey, we are fairly new. We just started our NF journey. So this will be the fourth video that we have on YouTube, which is NF Wake Up. I think one of the things that makes NF so powerful is the music videos that he puts out with them. The newer ones are amazing. The older ones are still really, really good. And we apologize for messing up. I apologize for messing up Weight, which was the one we just listened to. So we're going to get into NF Wake Up, get right into it. But we're really we're trying to use music to kind of work through some of our past issues, traumas, whatever you want to call them, things that happened in our childhood that are affecting us later in life. We're coming up on 8 years of marriage, and we got 2 little kiddos, but we are realizing that some of the things that happened in our past are affecting us in the future. And so, about a month and a half ago, we really started just kind of digging into some of the past issues, trying to work through them, get to the root of the issues. And really what started that journey was NF, an NF reaction video, actually. And so we're in that same process. I wanted to share with my wife, and so we started this channel. And so we appreciate you guys coming along for the rides. So yeah, if you guys relate to this, comment below. If you want to give us insight on what you felt when you first listened to this, we'd love to hear your guys' thoughts as well. So we're gonna get right into it.
Waking up in bed. I knew it.
You spend your life in a dream that you can't escape, 'cause you live your life in a coma, you never awake. If you'd open your eyes, then maybe you'd see what's at stake. You're sleeping. You're sleeping. You make a lot of money and you live in a mansion and pretty much got everything that you could ever imagine. But you feel like even though you got everything in the world, you got nothing. So what you do then is you start going backwards. You run in a direction and you looking for something that isn't real. No, you know it's that you just gotta have it. What you doing is sleeping and thinking that you're awakening not. And the problem is that you don't know what you're after. So you put everything that you have into what you do, hoping that one day maybe you don't have to feel like you're empty. But as you get older, a lot of weight on your shoulders is...
Come on, computer. Our computer is glitching out. So you say your reaction. I'm gonna go get the mouse. So it's an easy click.
Side note, I told him to get the mouse originally. Okay, well, also you'll have to bear with me because I know a lot of people are probably gonna hate me for saying this, or boo me a little bit, but I don't ever listen to rap ever. So it's been a little bit of an interesting transition because it's like my brain doesn't want to keep up. So it takes me a little bit. But when he started getting into the rap part, the whole idea, the concept of like, you're not really paying attention to what is actually in your life, the good things, and you're always looking for something else. It's like your mind is always on what you are missing or what is on the other side that's greener, and I think that's basically what he's kind of saying is, but, and you're sleeping because you're not awake to what, awake, I got it, but you're not awake to like what is actually in your life, the good things. And I will say that I have fallen into that many times. I think we all can probably say that in one way or another. But yeah, I thought that was very good. Yeah, I really like that first section.
Okay, we're going to take it back to where the rapping starts. So you need to read or
read it again.
Yeah, watch the video or whatever. So remember spacebar.
I did do spacebar.
Here's a million.
Going backwards, you're running a direction and you looking for something that isn't real. No, you know is that you just gotta have it. What you doing is sleeping and thinking that you're awake and you're not. And the problem is that you don't know what you're after. So you put everything that you have into what you do, hoping that one day maybe you don't have to feel like you're empty. But as you get older, a lot of weight on your shoulders is getting heavy. Then you look back and you start to regret things. You only get one life, and every time you look into yours, you feel like everything you have is a waste. And the problem and the reason you can never feel a hole in your life is because you were never awake. You spend your life in.
So that almost, with the video, almost gives a different connotation of you're searching out, or you're seeking, you're going after kind of the wrong things. I don't say the wrong things in life because it's kind of depicting money and status of a way, and to a point that could be for providing for your family. So I think a lot of people can have an imbalance of this because their heart is in the right place. Like, well, I want to provide really well for my family. A lot of times that's the men. In this case, it's women. Obviously, women can do it as well. But whoever is providing, single mom, whoever, you're wanting to create something, a good life for your kids or for the rest of your family. And so your heart is in the right spot. But I think he's saying, like, if you're going after the wrong stuff, you're not paying attention to what you have, and sooner or later, just in the blink of an eye, it's going to be gone. I mean, I think everybody who has kids can understand that completely, because it goes by so fast with kids. I mean, in the blink of an eye, it's like they go from a baby to all of a sudden they're 6 years old, and obviously we don't have any kids over 6, but I've heard that's like, then all of a sudden they're getting their driver's license and they're out of the house and they're like, what just happened? So yeah, if you're not kind of paying attention, you're only focusing on other things, you miss so much out of life.
Well, and I'm not sure if you caught it, but in that verse, he's talking about her trying to fill that hole in your, if you
you don't feel like you're empty. What?
And the problem and the reason you could never fill a hole in your life. So you're trying to fill this hole in your life with success. And in this lady's instance, basically she filled it with success, and in the process she lost her family, and it's like, to us, that's not success. The relationship that you have with your family, with God, that's way more important than success. And if that stuff is in right alignment, for us, we are Christians, and that's what fills the hole in your heart. You can't fill that hole with a spouse. You have to fill it with God. And by keeping that alignment pure, with me putting God first and her putting God first, then we come together at a point, and that's how, in our opinion, that's how relationships work and make it. And nowadays, especially, because everything out there is pointing, go make your millions, but at what cost? And so for us, it's sad because there's so many people in this lady's position that's what they're chasing, and that's all they really care about. Not that they don't care about their family, but they're in this mindset of being asleep. They're not awake to what they're losing by pursuing this filling of the hole in their heart. So,
yeah.
So, got anything else?
Well, I do, but I have to ruminate on it a little bit.
Well, this next verse will bring more stuff.
A dream that you can't escape, 'cause you live your life in a coma, you never awake. But feel like you never got up and go to work, and you feeling like you ain't got a purpose, and you trying to get motivated, but everything you do turns into a mess, like you ain't nothing but worthless. And yo, you look around, a lot of these other people you looking at, to you describe as perfect. So you point a finger at God and tell him to do his job and fix your life up, cause nothing is working. And you,
yeah, that I can really relate to. I'm not gonna lie. It is hard, I think, especially with social media. You know, you look at somebody else's life, and I mean, no one's going to be putting on there like, oh, I did this wrong, I did this wrong. You know, it's like, for the most part, people are putting on their highlight reels, you know, and I've done this so many times. I compare my best to my worst to somebody's best. And there is so much, I think I talked about this in some of the other videos we were watching, but you know, there's so much out there, especially for women, that will, tell you subliminally or directly, you know, that you're not a good enough wife, you're not a good enough mother. If you don't look like these filtered, airbrushed, you know, people in Hollywood or on Instagram who are 20, you know, whatever, then you're not worth it, you know. And in my opinion, again, we're Christians. It is a tactic of the enemy to, I mean, there's a whole nother topic that we can talk about where it goes back to the reason why Satan deceived Eve in the beginning. It's about women, and I mean, there's a whole other thing there, but there is a reason why Satan hates women in particular, and why there's so much that women have to deal with, and this is one of them. I mean, you're talking about internal stuff. I mean, everything that he's talking about, you know, in this verse about not knowing your purpose or not feeling like you have a purpose. And then because of that, everything in your life, everything in your day seems like it's just not quite enough. It's not good enough, you know, and there's been plenty of times.
The feeling of worthless. Being worthless.
And there's been plenty of times when obviously I can't blame anybody else. So it's very easy to be like, well, if, you know, God, if you love me so much, I mean, in your word, you say, you want us to be prosperous, you want us to have a great life, you know, everything should be turned out for our good, and yet, you know, like your life feels like a mess, it feels like it's falling apart, you know, like if you can't keep up with your bills, or, you know, your relationship with your kids are strained, or, you know, you're just lost your job, there's so many things where it'd be easy to blame God, and I know I've done that a lot of times, but obviously, you know, if you take some time, you know, and just kind of, and I will also say, preface this, is like, God doesn't hate you or love you any less if you go to him with those frustrations. I mean, at the end of the day, he just wants you to be talking to him and being in his presence, because then, have you ever had a conversation with somebody that's been really hard, and you're hurting from what they may or may not have said, but you'll never resolve it if you don't actually talk with them? That's the same kind of thing with God. Like, if you're feeling those emotions, go to him and talk to him, because either you'll just feel good about like getting it out, because once that negativity and stuff, which of course is again from the enemy, that's when clarity can come through, once all that junk is out. So it's better to just get it out, whether it's directly to him, you know, writing it, which looks like a lot of what NF does. He uses his words. Talking to somebody else, is just getting it out, and that's when that clarity of mind can come in, and that peace. But yeah, I have definitely been there. It's because it's hard when you can't explain it. It's easy to.
It's a tough cycle when you're in it.
Yeah.
And it's like you feel like everything you do just gets you deeper and deeper in that hole. And so, yeah, I can definitely relate to the second part too, where it's just like, it seems like everything you're doing is bringing you further back. You know, one step forward, two steps back. And so it's true. But if you're not living intentionally, if you're just doing what other people tell you to do, go to work, get a job, and you'll be fine. That mindset gets you into the mindset of not thinking critically, not thinking creatively. You're hoping success is going to fall into your lap without you having to dig deeper.
Well, that's really
inside.
Good. That's really good. I mean, I think that what you just said in this verse, I think really reflects what the title is saying. It's like, if you're not actually doing that stuff, you literally are like you're sleeping. It's like your mind, it's like the Matrix. You're just
wasting time.
Yeah, it's just like you're a robot. You're not actually thinking about anything. You're just what's the word, like going through the motions. You're just doing it because, get up, go to work, come home, eat dinner, watch TV, go to sleep. Get up, go to work, come home, eat, it's like, and that's exactly, honestly, whether you believe in God or the supernatural, spiritual realm at all, that's what Satan wants. Because if he's got a lot of people on earth not knowing their purpose, not fulfilling their purpose, a lot of good things can't happen.
Or focused on this, that's something that puts most people to sleep. There's their phone.
Yeah.
Just scrolling, liking posts.
But you can like this video.
Yeah, you can like this video too. Because we're trying to help you. No, just kidding. Trying to help us by helping you. I don't know, whatever. You know what I mean? But yeah.
Well, it's true.
So,
that is honestly, again, whether you guys believe in God and have a relationship with Him or not, that is, even if you take the spiritual side out of it, people help each other all the time. That is what humans do. We don't really survive on our own. We really rely on each other. Because where you have weaknesses, a lot of times there's blind spots. You're kind of like this tunnel vision, especially when you're having these type of emotions. So having somebody else, whether it's a spouse or a best friend or somebody you look up to who's a little bit further down the road, a mentor of some sort, have another pair of eyes can really help. It's what's that phrase, like better together. We really are. Yeah. So
we're not meant to live alone or function alone.
Okay, let's keep going.
Yeah, we'll bring it back just a little bit.
But everything you do turns into a mess, like you ain't nothing but worthless. And you look around, a lot of these other people you looking at, to you describe as perfect. So you point a finger at God and tell him to do his job and fix your life up, cause nothing is working. And you would try to hide it and make it seem like it's nothing, but really you feel like everything is crashing around you. And you developed a problem in trusting in other people, which later became an issue that would mentally pound you. You only get one life, but every time you look into yours, you feel like all you ever see are mistakes. And the problem and the reason you can never move forward in life is because you were never wake up.
Yeah, this oh gosh, this is probably so far my favorite one, I would say, because
I knew you'd like this.
Oh, it's so good. Oh my gosh, so good. The idea of developing, letting all this stuff kind of, just toxify your brain. And it messes up everything else in your life, your relationships with everybody, trusting people. I have been here actually relatively recently, where, I've let just some situations that kind of created bitterness in my mind. And the longer you just kind of fester on that and you let it pent up in your mind. And I mean, you literally, it's like you literally see everything with it's like if you don't wash your car for like a year, and like all your windows are just like grungy and dirty, and it's like you're trying to kind of see down the road of the highway and you're like, oh my God, I can't see. That's like what it is. I mean, it literally, it blinds you, and it ruins everything. It turns everything good to bad, really quickly. And
well, it's like you're seeing through rose-colored glasses or stained glasses, or really smudged glasses in my case, because it really affects your vision, and like that's a good analogy with a dirty car. you know, mud streaking. It's hard to see. And it's like, you can't see anything clearly.
Yeah.
So.
But that's where it's like waking up. It's like, I think not even just waking up to like the reality of the situation, but kind of waking up to maybe some personal responsibility. Mm-hmm. I know that in a situation recently, you know, it was so easy to point the finger at people and other, you know, circumstances or whatever. And I mean, I think human nature can be it's a pride thing. You know, we don't want to admit faults. We don't want to admit mistakes, or we don't want to like kind of point it at ourselves. But I think when I woke up to being like, okay, you know what? I'll admit what I did. And, you know, this is my part too, you know, and by doing that, it released a lot. You know, it opened up a lot. You know, there's still emotions aren't going to just go away, you know, necessarily, and things aren't going to be just mended and healed. But there's healing in that, and it gives you a sense of I don't want to say accomplishment, but it makes you feel really good, because if you're
a glimpse of hope.
Well, hope, but also like when you take personal responsibility and you admit, hey, you know, I did this or I did that, and you know, I'm sorry, or let's work through this. It gives you a sense of like I don't know, confidence, or I think for me it's self-respect. I think that's really what it is, because and a sense of control. That's the biggest thing, because when you're just letting all this crap blind you and everything becomes reactionary, then think about it. You know, when you're blinded by bitterness, by anger, by, you know, whatever, comparison to other people or other people's lives or other people's jobs, whatever, you start getting bitter, you start getting angry, you start getting frustrated with God or your spouse or whoever, you know, and it becomes so reactionary where it comes like out of control, and you're overwhelmed, and it's like everything, you don't have any control over anything anymore. You just feel like you're just kind of like asleep, where it's like somebody else is running my life and I can't even now stop it. I can't control it. And a lot of people, that's kind of just like, well, whatever, they just give up. And so I think by doing that, by being like, you know what, wait, you know what? This is my fault too. Like, it's my life. So I have control over my actions, my attitudes, you know, and in this, whatever circumstance it is, admitting, like recognizing where you might have faulted. And in my case, where I faulted, my mistakes and owning up to it, it gave me that sense of control back. I was able to take the wheel back, and then, okay, now where do I want to go to fix this? You know, it gave you that sense of control. So that verse was very powerful.
No, you're good. That's the purpose of what we're going through. So
spend your life in a dream that you can't escape, 'cause you live your life in a
I can relate to that. Just so frustrated with everything just building up on top of you, just like screaming in your car, just stuck in traffic, and yeah, just because we as people, a lot of times we try to go through life alone. We try to bear the load alone, and really, you can't. It'll break you down. You may be able to do it for a while. You can ask my wife. You know, but it'll come and get you. if you don't release it in a positive, healing way. Like, I think of it as, you know, like a former military. I treat it like a wound that healed over, but it didn't get cleaned out correctly. And so it may look like it's healed, but underneath it's just this festering thing, and eventually it'll reopen in the most inopportune, the worst time.
Yeah.
The worst time. And so, you know, I definitely understand the frustration aspect of when you do wake up, you're just like, gotta get it out.
You never wait.
that was really good. Oh shoot! Is that supposed to be her at the end? Ooh, that's
and
deep.
The old guy.
Ooh, that's...
Yeah. So, how many people go through life
Oh yeah.
with all these wounds, all these things that they're carrying with them? They never, they never wake up. They never go back and try to work through what they're dealing with, and they end up, at the end of their life, and they still have all these hurts and pains, and it's just like, it's not the way to live.
Yeah.
There's such a better way to live, and I think that's what NF is trying to get across. Like, wake up call, like wake up.
Well, I think it's also wake up and face it.
Face it.
I mean,
Yep.
I give him a lot of credit because it was just a couple months ago that he started actually, I mean, for a number of months, he just had kind of shut everything out, like he was here, we could have a conversation, but it was like very surface level. It was very, you could tell something was up, but it was one of those things like you asked him and it was like, no, I'm good, I'm just tired, and obviously these videos have helped him, but he started asking himself really tough questions, and started, obviously I didn't know about this until later, but when we started having conversations, and then he starts asking me these things, and I was like, oh my gosh, who are you and where this is coming from, but there were such good questions that really start making you think. And I believe that I think a lot of people are scared to do that because of what they might discover. But at the same time, from what I learned, it was tough to kind of go through those emotions and, maybe some past trauma that have hurt in the past, so going back to those situations. But in there's truth. And the truth, again, spiritual side or not, it does set you free. It does give you back that sense of control and give you a light, that you can work off of versus just being constantly in the dark and being asleep.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. And going back, what my wife just said, it was about asking the hard questions, asking myself the hard questions, because I was at a spot where I had just kind of put the walls up and kind of was a hollow man at that stage. And it was an NF video that got me rethinking about why am I not feeling emotion anymore? And I realized how numb I had become to everything. And so that kind of started my journey. Just the concept that a lot of people grow up with is, when you're emotional, being a guy, if you're emotional, you're weak. But I mean, probably the guys that never cry, I mean, that's not weak. That's just, you're holding everything inside.
It's pride.
And eventually, you'll hurt people because there's things inside of you hurting. And if you don't go back and heal those properly, then you are going to hurt everyone around you. You'll have outbursts. And I think that was one of the things that kind of like shut me down for a while, because I was realizing how much I was just having these just random outbursts, maybe towards my kids, that was just kind of not me, and you're just like, where the heck did that come from? And you don't like that person. And I didn't like who I was becoming in that aspect. And so, I had to figure it out. And
when a lot of people stop there, they might recognize it like, oh man, I lashed out at my kids, but a lot of people don't actually ask, like, where, like, stop, okay, that's not who I am, where is this coming from? Something mentally, maybe in your environment, something kind of triggered that. And I think I really love that you took the time to really kind of figure that out, because
Yeah.
I think that's so important, and it's something that we're going to be able to teach our kids, because it wasn't something that we were taught.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. And so, you know, we've had a lot of discussions in the last month or two, including generational curses. And it's like, just watching this video, it's like, if you don't wake up, if you don't make the changes, if you don't go back to the hard aspects of your life, the things you went through, the issues that happened, the things that happened to you, the situations, then you pass it on to future generations. And there's some good NF videos that kind of show that as well. So for that, we are done. Again, we appreciate you guys sticking this long with us. Share us, like us. We don't really care. We just are glad that you're with us. But we'd love to hear from you in the comments. If this reaction made a difference for you, if we touched on something. So we will see you on the next video.